You titled the blog, He Knew. What did he know?
When I was watching the footage of the ambulance backing out of the driveway, and I went back to this conversation that I had with him at Neverland in the library. We were sitting by the fire, and he was telling me that he was afraid that he was going to end up like my father. You know, he was always asking me about when he died and how it happened and when it happened and where. And
Michael was always asking you about your father.
Yes. And he said, I feel like I'm going to end up the same way.
So I'm leaving Sony a free agent. Owning half of Sony. So I own half of Sony's publishing, and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it. But I just did good business, you know.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
Coherently good conversation was in 2005. It was a very long conversation, and I was so removed from him, and he could feel it and he could hear it. And I think that's one of the things that killed me in the end too, was that I was very distanced, and he was checking to get a read. You know, he was trying to throw a line out to see if I would bite emotionally, and I wouldn't. I was pretty shut off at that point. And I don't even know how I managed to be like that, but I was. And he was asking me, he wanted to tell me that that I was right about a lot of the people around him, and that it had panned out to be exactly what he and I had talked about years ago. And he asked if I still loved him, and we went into a whole thing about that, and I told him I was indifferent, and he didn't like that word. And he cried, and he was just trying to find out where I was at and how I could become so detached. And then the final part of the conversation was him telling me that he felt that that someone was going to try and kill him to get a hold of his catalog and his estate. And I really didn't know what to do with that.
So he actually gave you names?
He did, and I would like not to say them, but he expressed to me his concern over his life.
This is a home in Los Angeles where Michael Jackson died. Across the street, just a stone's throw away, was Elvis Presley's California home, where Lisa Marie spent a lot of time growing up.
What about the irony of that?
We can't let them get away with what they're trying to do. We can't let them get away with what they're trying to do. We can't let them get away.
The final part of the conversation was him telling me that he felt that that someone was going to try and kill him to get a hold of his catalog and his estate.
Owning half of Sony. So the way they get revenge